It's really easy when you're doing any kind of work to just get stuck. And 100K in 10 has really made it possible for me to think more big picture. Why are we doing this as a museum? Why am I doing this as an educator? And hearing from my colleagues who are doing similar work reminds me of that big picture, but also pushes me to think about the work that I'm doing in different ways.
Hi. One of the things that I'm most excited about in my work this past year with 100K in 10 is our collaborative work with some other organizations that we've been able to meet through the work in the network.
100K in 10 has provided a framework for engaging with a variety of people across the country. Because the framework is so focused, you get done what you need to get done, it's really enabled people to come together and have conversations that can go off in different directions.
I've met the best people in this experience, and I'd love for everybody to know them.
All right, friends, teacher voices, good morning.
So this network provides an opportunity for lots of different kinds of stakeholders to come together and try to develop better solutions than any of us could develop alone. Representatives from over 270 partner organizations who are united around one mission, and that's to bring and retain 100,000 excellent STEM teachers.
I'm here hoping to get some new ideas on recruiting potential STEM teachers and retaining STEM teachers.
I am currently in a project team working on diversifying the STEM pipeline.
How are we recruiting and preparing teachers that most look like our students? And so that's where this project teamwork comes in.
We're looking at addressing implicit bias in the classroom.
I'm now co-leading the Rural Micro Network, which is a new opportunity to keep people engaged in the conversation around supporting rural STEM teachers. The really important pieces that 100K in 10 provide are those that exhaust people in their regular jobs. And so it's the framework and the follow-up and the platforms that 100K in 10 is offering.
The intersection of passion and expertise is where change happens. And I believe that 100K in 10 is where that happens. You can affect change. Sometimes it takes a little time, but as long as everybody's willing to pitch in, we can actually make things happen.
And there's a lot going on. Wow, look at all this amazing work and all of these amazing organizations that are trying to move the needle on STEM teaching and learning in this country. That's exciting. Looking forward to 2021 when we've done it. 100,000 teachers.
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Let's hear it back. Good morning, good afternoon. It's really amazing to be here with all of you. So they say to start with a joke. Taking that seriously, as I was preparing for a summit a few years back, I found the perfect one. I practiced it in front of the mirror and over the phone with my funny brothers. And the night before summit, I gave it one last rehearsal with my husband. Then he cleared his throat awkwardly. "Sweetheart," he said, "I swear this is actually what happened." "Sweetheart," he said, and then he paused. "All of us have our strengths, and telling jokes is not one of yours." So out went the joke about the genie, the salesman, and the highway to Hawaii. The point was how hard it was going to be to reach our goal. To be honest, it sounded impossible. In the 2011 State of the Union, when President Obama called on the nation to infuse our classrooms with 100,000 new and excellent STEM teachers, no one, not even the White House, thought it had a shot. A recalcitrant Congress rejected the appropriation that came along with that goal. And like most of the stirring calls to action in most states of the union, this one was destined for the dustbins. But inspired by a president who preached hope, 100K in 10 was born, with 28 pioneering organizations from myriad sectors stepping up to make bold commitments to action. Since 2011, 100K in 10 has grown more than 10x, with more than 300 organizations, so many of you here right now, ultimately making commitments to achieving the goal. When I was 6 or 7, my grandparents decided to teach me how to bike. They took off my training wheels and walked me and my bike to the local park. I climbed on, my grandmother gave me a push, and my grandfather, always fit, ran alongside me. I was doing fine until I hit a garbage can and fell over. I picked myself up, dusted off the dirt, and tried again. Bam, another garbage can. At this point, my grandmother may or may not have started to laugh. She pushes all the garbage cans over, clearing the path. I get on the bike, pedal, and crash right into those garbage cans again. My grandfather comes to my side. Talia, he whispers, focus on where you want to go, and you'll make it. Friends, we focused for 10 years on where we wanted to go, and we have made it. Actually, we exceeded it. Together, we prepared more than 108,000 excellent STEM teachers in 10 years. Because of your commitments and actions, we achieved what many thought was impossible. And we did it against the backdrop of the largest decline in teacher preparation programs ever. We prepared more teachers in the last 2 years during a global pandemic than in any other 2-year period during our 10-year journey. We did it. An independent analysis by Bellwether Education Partners highlighted 5 ways that we together spurred what they called a decade of remarkable change. They said 100K in 10 preparation programs improved how you recruited highly qualified STEM teacher candidates. In 2011 to 12, when we started, each organization preparing STEM teachers prepared an average of 172 teachers. By 2020-21, this last year, in the middle of a pandemic, the average had skyrocketed to 294. Second, they said, because of 100K in 10 partners, more STEM teacher candidates experienced evidence-based STEM teacher preparation, preparing them to go into the classrooms and inspire, motivate, and support their students. Third, they found, you increased your emphasis on preparing and supporting elementary teachers with STEM skills, particularly in foundational math. After we together mapped the underlying root causes of the STEM teacher shortage and identified high leverage keystone species or catalysts, we as a network started focusing on them. Joyful and authentic early math was one of those catalysts because the spark for STEM learning happens early. And in 2019, we mobilized the network to address it. In just the 2 years since, 55% of partners reported that you increased your focus on this catalytic area. Fourth, Bellwether found, and this is a quote, that because of 100K in 10 partners, more teachers have access to quality STEM professional growth and collaborative work environments. Positive work environments was our first catalyst as a network, because it is only when teachers thrive that students can thrive too. The catalysts, including the focus on increasing the range of relevant, career-connected STEM courses, especially for Black, Latinx, and Native American learners, point our way toward ending the STEM teacher shortage. Since we launched in 2011 with 28 organizations, nearly 3,000 leaders have contributed to the work of the 100K in 10 network. All this led to Bellwether's conclusion that, quote, more teachers and students have access to meaningful, authentic, and rigorous STEM learning via 100K in 10 partners. If we were in person, there'd be high fives and spontaneous jigs erupting right now. Let's not let a pandemic stop us. If you have contributed to recruiting, preparing, supporting, strengthening, funding, or championing STEM teachers over the past 10 years, or if you're committed to joining us for the next 10, please, wherever you are and in whatever ways you are able, cheer your heart out. $345 organizations making commitments, $170 million raised to support the STEM teaching field, 2,700 people contributing, 108,000 STEM teachers in 10 years. I am so very proud of us. My grandfather's whispered encouragement notwithstanding, we didn't reach this goal just by focusing on it. We understood that reaching the goal of 100,000 excellent STEM teachers required a new way of working. The key insight, co-created with you over the course of this decade, was that so much of what we needed was already right here. It wasn't about shiny new objects or silver bullets. It was about joining greatness to greatness, awakening the power of connection. Sufi wisdom teaches, you think that because you understand one, that you must therefore understand two, because one and one make two. But you forget that you must also understand and. Team 100K and 10 gave everything to understanding the and, so that we could unleash all of you to bring your ones and ones and ones together to make 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 108,000. As Bellwether found, most parts of the equation for overcoming the STEM teacher shortage existed without 100K and 10. But 100K and 10 catalyzed the generative collaboration and innovation that happened when all those parts of the equation came together to spur deeper impact. Together, we can solve big things. Just think about what humanity accomplished as nations worked together over the past 20 months to create a vaccine. The polio vaccine took 20 years from trials to license. By last month, less than 2 years after COVID-19 was first identified, the world was manufacturing 1.5 billion doses of vaccine a month. It's a scientific triumph. And yet, as the depressed vaccine uptake makes clear, the limit of even our greatest scientific triumphs is trust. In 100K and 10, we braided the spirit of collaborative innovation with trust. We intentionally designed gatherings and experiences where each of us could be celebrated for and give from our unique strengths, while also sharing with vulnerability where we struggle and need help. 80% of you told us that you shared challenges without filters, and 90% that you encountered insights or expertise that you wouldn't have found otherwise. To make progress, to really tilt the universe toward change, we need to learn from each other's triumphs and hold each other's brokennesses in equal measure. Poets have understood this. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, Rumi wrote, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Yehuda Amichai offered it this way. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. Together, we till the field beyond right and wrong, where we could grow, where teachers could grow. Because of that, we collectively solve challenges that none of us could solve on our own. And we brought new solutions to teachers and to students, creating, as Bellwether found, a more interconnected, focused, and prepared community of experts, collectively scaling impact on the STEM education field, on STEM educators, and on K-12 students. So a genie grants the salesman one wish. The salesman says, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii, but I'm scared to fly and I hate boats. Build me a highway to Hawaii. And the genie's like, no freaking way. A highway to Hawaii. Think about the pylars I have to put in the Pacific Ocean. Think about the asphalt and the concrete, the engineering feats, to say nothing of the red tape. Anything else, my wish is your command. Salesman says, okay. All right, I got it. How about 100,000 excellent STEM teachers in schools across the country in 10 years? The genie looks chagrined, pauses, mutters, 1 lane or 2. You can see why I was working on it. Against the most severe decline in teacher preparation programs in our nation's history, and without the help of a genie, we made it. We made it. So what do we do now? We are at an inflection point, celebrating the end of something magnificent that we did together and looking ahead at what must come next. For we can see the work left undone. Decades of racism and exclusion have left too many of our children, especially our Black, Latinx, and Native American young people, too far from inclusion in the STEM fields. And for their sake today, even as we celebrate, we must also look ahead. Building on the last 10 years, as we charge together to reach the peak President Obama set for us, today, we are preparing to follow the voices of our young people toward a new mountaintop. But first, we dance. I mean it. As some wise women once wrote, what's the point of revolution if we can't dance? I'm turning off my video. Join me in letting loose and celebrating what we have done together.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far. Don't worry, baby, just call out my name. I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, baby.
That was awesome. Each of us has been inspired by incredible teachers and mentors. Dorette Diamond in 2nd grade and Mrs. Maid in 7th were mine. Bring yours into the room with you. Teachers fuel future generations to imagine and achieve what once seemed impossible, like the obviously ludicrous idea of preparing 100,000 excellent STEM teachers in 10 years. If every kid with a dream to cure a disease or remove carbon or discover a new species, if each of these kids had the teachers and the opportunities to realize those dreams, imagine what our world would look like. The people who will cure cancer and dementia, desalinate water and avoid future pandemics, mitigate natural disasters, and solve challenges unknown or invisible today. They are, along with my 3 girls and your children too, blessedly sitting in our nation's classrooms right now. Because of this network, these children have 108,000 more committed and talented STEM teachers to help them realize their dreams. And our work continues, which is going to work out okay because we have each other. Not everyone in the room has been on the 100K journey for the first 10 years, but we know that each of you is a vital part of our next 10. Thank you for everything that you are doing, and thank you for everything that you will do to fuel the dreams of every student in this nation so that they can create the future we know they deserve. If we were in person, I would invite the entire team 100K and 10 onto the stage to share in this moment. Grace Claywater Doremus, Julie Peterzo, Yasmin Sabrina Fodil, Pomai Verzon, Lauren Bayer, Mabel Yu, Kate Eisenberg, Misha Bird, Monique Hofflinger, Guadalupe Carrasco, Teresa Mooney, and Amber Hamilton. You are amazing. Your hearts and minds continue to humble, challenge, and inspire me. I wish I could ask everyone joining here today to unmute and stand with me to applaud this extraordinary team. But since I can't, please unleash your love in the chat and join me in thanking an indomitable, courageous, open-hearted, and audacious team without whom we could not have arrived at this moment.